one of the biggest needs that we heard in the listening sessions, and that was, how do we grow a bench?
Yeah.
How do we build the next ministry leaders for our church? And so I remember when he gave me his budget for this year, I'm thinking, oh man, he needs all this money to train men that have said, we will prepare so that we can help and do trainings for churches. And so part of the things that you're doing, it's not just churches helping churches, but it's also key leaders that
Yes.
are kingdom minded that you're sending off to do training with the North American Mission Board,
Yes.
so that we can do this at a very low cost in California.
Right.
And so it's really neat. And then he comes after me he comes to me after the meeting, and his report, he says, I have one more. Can you give me more money? And I'm going, oh my goodness, this guy's gonna break the bank. But the need is so great.
I couldn't ask for it all at once. I'm like that kid that comes back to the parents. I need a little bit more, a little bit more. But no, one of the biggest needs out there, and I know the churches will all agree that so few churches have a pathway of discipleship. If someone joins your church today, can you really say, if you stick with me for the next 5 years, here's the kind of Christian we're going to make you, and I've got a monthly pathway to get there of discipleship? We used to have that. It was called Sunday school or church training union or all this, but we've lost it currently. Well, we at the CSBC went out and we looked across America to find where is the best resources for helping churches rebuild a discipleship pathway. And we found that. It's called Replicate. And we're bringing Replicate to the state of California. And hear me, this is very important. Replicate is not a program. Replicate is not something we give you and say, here, do this. Replicate is a training that we do in your church of your leaders, where we'll come alongside you over a series of months and help you discover your discipleship pathway, what you want to do, how you want to do it, what curriculum you want to use. We walk with you to make sure that you've got every box checked, every part of that pathway designed and figured out. So in other words, we're not coming along and saying you need to do what the church down the road did. We're coming along and saying we're helping you find out what God's called you to do. And this is called Replicate. If you're interested in that, again, go to the website, contact us. We can bring that training to you.
Welcome to the GC Collective Podcast, brought to you by the California Southern Baptist Convention. From local missions to global impact, we explore the vision, passion, and heart behind our collective movement in California and around the world. Where better together isn't just a motto, it's how we maximize our impact in fulfilling the Great Commission.
Hello, California Southern Baptist family. Welcome back to the GC Collective Podcast. We are literally minutes outside of our first board meeting of the year.
Yes, it's nice to be done with that first board meeting. We had 24 board members and our president of the convention present. It was his first meeting with us.
Yeah.
It was a good meeting.
It really was a good meeting.
It really was. I'm a little bit tired,
right?
Because you're running really hard for 3 good days when we have board meetings, but it was just good to be with brothers in Christ from all over our state, and what a blessing.
And also, the building, we're starting to feel a little winsome about, is this going to be the last? Is this one going to be will the board be back here? We don't know.
Sure. And because it was perhaps our last board meeting in the building, we decided to do stuff here where we usually sometimes go visit other churches. And this time we did it here. We had a dinner here. And it just kind of feels weird.
Yeah. I know. But we don't know. We'll talk about that a little bit more. But let's start off by talking about some things to celebrate. There were some things that came out of the conversation during board week that we can be celebrating.
Sure. I mean, I think our partners, they come every time we have a board meeting. California Baptist University, Gateway Seminary, and the Baptist Foundation of California, they come and they give reports, they give updates of what's happening, and it's really exciting what's happening with the different partners. The Baptist Foundation of California, Dr. Jonathan Jarbo came and shared with us that they've created a new endowment for the California Southern Baptist Convention.
Mm-hmm.
At the Baptist Foundation, they've created this endowment for us, and they started it with $100,000. And if anybody in our convention, in our family, wants to be able to add to that endowment, it will allow us to use up a small percentage of that in the future to do ministry.
Right.
They called it the Missions and Ministry Endowment for the CSBC, made by the Baptist Foundation of California. And I remember having a conversation with Dr. Jarble. Will you help me raise $40 million for the convention? And he looked at me like, okay, how am I going to do this? And of course, our foundation, that's what they do. They build endowments and they manage them, and they do a really good job for us. And I'm just grateful for that partnership.
It's really cool to think that some of you may be thinking about doing estate planning this year, and you can actually put this endowment in your estate planning, and for perpetuity,
that's right,
your family, you will be making a difference in California till Jesus comes back.
Yeah.
So call the Baptist Foundation and find out how you can do that, right?
Well, that turned into a commercial real fast.
Well, and then the other thing is, did you hear that one of our guys got a recognition as the Man of the Year?
Oh, I heard.
Right? Citizen of the Year, right? For the city of Riverside.
Yes.
And can you guess who that is?
I can.
That's
I was
right.
there.
That's right. You were there. So can you guess? Yes, Dr. Ellis. He has served at our university for 31 years, and the city of Riverside recognizes the impact and the influence of this godly servant. And so Dr. Ellis got recognized as Citizen of the Year. Dr. Ellis, thank you for all that you do. And you lead so well our university, and we're so grateful for you. May God continue to give you favor among those that you serve there in that city of Riverside and throughout.
Well earned.
Yes. And speaking of education, Dr. Adam Groza sent Dr. Jeff Jones to come and speak on behalf of Gateway Seminary. And Gateway Seminary is celebrating, of course, tremendous growth. They talked about this is their largest number of students enrolled at Gateway Seminary in the history of the seminary. And something very exciting, they just opened a new campus. It's been many years since they've opened a new campus, and this new campus is in Hawaii.
That's right.
So there's a lot of professors that want to go.
It's a real struggle. It's going to be a struggle
to go there.
Right.
But this is not only just exciting to open this campus in Hawaii, it is a strategic campus.
That's right.
For the Pacific Rim.
That's right.
Gateway has teaching sites in Hong Kong and Korea and all of the islands that are out there. And the Pacific Rim is a huge opportunity of the Great Commission. And so to have this campus there is really noteworthy. A lot of people have taken notice, and it's exciting, and the possibilities are beyond what we can imagine.
And it's the first campus that they opened in over 30 years, right?
That's amazing.
And Dr. Callie will be the director out there. And so we need to keep him in prayer, and may God continue to give them favor out there, right?
And what's going on at Gateway and CBU, I don't know if people realize it, but those two institutions are some of the best in the world.
That's right. That's right.
They're some of the best in America and the world internationally. And they're right here in our backyard, and they're our partners. And so no reason for our people to go out of state to get this education. They can stay right here. That's a huge blessing for us since we're on a mission field.
It really is. And it's intentional. And so I'm just grateful for all that God is doing among our family. So.
And I just want to bring up, and I know we didn't prepare for this, but one thing that stuck out from Jeff Jones's report was the Chinese-English bilingual program and the growth that's happening there. He said it was like explosive, and I think Benny Wong is...
Dr. Benny Wong is doing an amazing job there.
And I remember writing that down on my paper that I wanted to look into that.
Right. And they just recently started the Masters in Spanish, and of course they have Korean. And so they're really doing all that they can to prepare the next generation to be able to come alongside the church and preach the word and share the gospel around the nation
There's teaching
and the world.
sites being built all across California in those languages. Where back in the day, if you wanted to go to seminary, you had to actually leave the mission field, go to a seminary, give it 3 or 4 years of your life, may or may not return to that mission field.
Right.
Gateway is changing the game.
Yeah.
They're bringing seminary to the local church, to the local community, and the mission field in which these guys are serving. So this is big. We haven't even begun to see the benefits of what's happening.
Right. That's
Yeah.
right. Dr.
It's
Adam
exciting.
Gross is doing a great job.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So board week, we just wrapped. One of the things that we have not yet publicized is the financial state of the convention. How did we end the year? I know people are kind of wondering. It's been a talking point.
Sure.
And we reported to the board.
Sure.
And how did we end the year?
Well, as many people might remember, last year we had a year where we were uncertain what was going to happen because we had in 2024 a budget that was passed that was a little bit controversial. Not a little bit. It was hard for some of our churches to swallow, and I totally understand why. And our board made the decision to change what was there, understanding that what we wanted to do as Baptists was to have a more a budget that was more like the ones we've had in the past.
Right.
And, our cooperative program dollars did go down a little bit. However, we were at 99% of our goal when it came to cooperative program dollars.
Was it 99 or 99.5?
No, it was 99. We came to 99.5% of our spending. So we spent a little bit more. We had to take an extra $17,000 from our earnings of our reserves to cover the spending versus what came in. But I mean, when you're talking $5 million, that's almost nothing.
No, in fact, that's huge. That's a success. Because when
really
you build
is.
a budget, anybody that's doing a really good budget, they're visionary. They're pushing the envelope.
Correct.
They're dreaming. To come that close, 99% of the way to your budget is actually a huge success. It means that you've got visionary leaders and you've also got the support of those who are giving the donations. And you go back to that moment where the board pivoted and they came back and they made that correction. I mean, to sit in these board meetings and hear about how churches responded, technically the convention got stronger because of some of those
100%.
things that happened. Because even though there's been a decrease in CP giving, that's not a California thing. That's just a kingdom thing right now.
Right.
That wasn't because of poor leadership.
Right.
That was just circumstantial.
Right.
I think because of strong leadership in our state, we actually are getting stronger in the midst of these trends that we're seeing.
Yeah.
Right. There are some churches that I'm aware of that their CP dropped considerably, but that's the challenges that they're having in some of our legacy churches. And so we need to continue to pray for those, and we continue to work with those that God might, again, restore them to the place that they were before. But the reality is that this convention is in a good financial standing.
Yeah.
The last couple years, the money that we have put in the market at the Baptist Foundation, that is managing our money really well. The last year we made over $600,000. This year we made $1.1 million in the market. Right, the market was really good, and after we planned to use $350,000 of that earning. We ended up actually using $367,000 because of the $70,000 shortfall of cooperative program. We ended up making $737,000 that we put back into the market, that we put back at the foundation, and that in the future, as we continue to do the work that we do, and eventually when we sell the Ministry Resource Center, that money will go in the foundation, and our board has agreed to use those resources as an endowment approach, using 3% of the budget. None of that is cooperative program dollars that are being saved. All of that is money that has been designated to the convention. People have given to the convention so that the convention can forever, till Christ comes, right?
Yeah.
Continue to give back into ministry. And so we're managing those dollars.
In other words, when you have a good year, you don't just go spend it all. You spend a portion of it.
That's right.
In anticipation that the next year the market may be down.
That's right.
And you can still spend because you're spending what you call an endowment approach to it.
Correct.
So it's just a wise, steady, slow approach to spending on these investments. I think that's great.
Well, some people ask me, well, you made $750,000 and you put it away, right? And it's like, we're making sure that we can grow the money that we have there in our reserves, so that in the future we can continue to use more. For example, a couple years ago we budgeted $350. This year we've budgeted $400,000. The next year we should be at closer to $5. As when we sell the building and that money goes into the foundation, then we'll be closer to $8. What I believe is going to happen if we just continue to be smart with the money and not use it today is that in the next 10 years, we will probably put back into ministry, $8 million, $7 million dollars into ministry. Right. And the next guy that leads this organization, he's going to be in a whole lot better place because we're thinking about tomorrow. And so that's been a strategic change that we've had here at the convention.
Every year our convention's growing. Churches are joining our convention.
Right.
Sometimes people wonder, is the Southern Baptist growing? In California it is.
It is, right.
People are joining our convention, and they're joining it many times because we are the best at what we do when it comes to missions and the Great Commission and partnership. People all the time say nobody's more connected with each other than the Southern Baptists are, and we long for that. And so they want in. Of course, we have standards, we have theological standards and things like that, and our convention does a great job vetting that. But every year, even with our high standards, more and more churches are joining, and more churches are giving. And if you think about it, just the normal average church out there giving a portion of their budget to the convention sacrificially. And then we're doing our best to turn around and give those funds back to churches for those special needs. Some of it's building programs, renewal programs, church planting, pastors in needs, emergencies that come up. We're a family.
That's right.
And we're all sharing these resources to take care of one another.
I was asked by a board member a very good question. The question was, are you concerned that as you continue to grow reserves that maybe people will be discouraged to give to missions, right? And how do you have a balance of that? And the reality is this, I think when people see organizations like the convention that are managing their resources well, they're more encouraged to continue to trust that organization and that it's going to give back into ministry. And I pray that really happens in California, that you don't get discouraged of giving sacrificially out of your own church to the mission work that we do. And that as we continue to manage the money well that we have in the reserves, that what we really see is just the generosity of the church continue, the generosity of this convention in the way it administers its money, and then that who wins is really the kingdom, right? Who wins is the kingdom. And we just want to be found faithful, managing what God has put in our hands so that the work gets done in California.
Amen.
So just to be clear, we did come just a hair short of the CP budget.
Of the CP goal.
Of the CP goal,
right.
So what came in? Our spending was under, and which just narrowed even that difference more so. And
That's right.
And then the investments, I mean,
wonderful.
Yes. So we're in a good state. Great. It's January. It's the first board meeting. We've had new people cycle in. Seems like a good time to give a quick sort of lightning refresher on what the board is, how they're represented, what they're broken down into.
It's funny because every January when new board members come in, I do an orientation. And if I were to do that orientation with you today, it would take over an hour. So just real quickly, just to let you know, our convention is made up of 28 board members from 7 different regions. One board member per church can be represented. We have ethnics, males and females, pastors, ministry leaders,
lay
professionals.
Leaders.
Yes, we have a mix of all those things, those kind of people that is important for us to have because they're giving oversight to the communication team, and they're giving oversight to the business office, and they're giving oversight to the ministry teams and to the executive, office. And so we need different kind of people with different kind of gift sets so that we can be accountable to them and to the work that we do.
And I think it's important that you just didn't get a bunch of board members from Southern California, where the largest population is. But you instead divided it between regions so that every region of California is equally represented. And in reality, that gives you the perspective of rural, urban, coastal, mountain, desert, central, southern. There's such wisdom in that. And I think people need to know that there are all these voices are speaking into the convention, right. And these perspectives are being borne out in the convention.
Well, and one of the things we do at orientation that was really instilled as an encouragement for us to do by our former board member, the mayor, Brent Ives, was, we want board members that speak. We want board members that share. We don't want people that are just yes people. We want people that are going to ask really good questions.
Yeah.
And so that's the kind of people we have on our board. They care about who we are, Southern Baptists. They want to know. And one of the things that I thank the board, members this time was their encouragement and their desire to want to see policy be written, policy for our board, because that's what a board does. It creates policy to make sure that things are being done. It doesn't tell the staff what to do, but it creates policy to make sure that we stay within the guidelines of what the work that's supposed to be done by the board and the convention. And so I'm really appreciative of that.
Yeah. For example, the communications is developing an AI usage policy for the Office of Communications, which I reached out to some other conventions, to see, and that we're really on the front edge of that right now.
Right.
And, that's the communications committee, subcommittee doing their job.
That's right. That's right. We have about 4 actually policies that are in the works right now.
Correct.
That I think at some
policy season.
Right. Then and again, I just, for some reason, it's not been something that we've done. We've always in the past kind of like said, well, we understand that this is what we do.
Yeah, we know.
But then people, rotate off the board, their term expires, and then, there goes the history. It needs to be written. And so we're working on those kind of things at our state convention with our board. And really, I'm just thankful for the professionalism of the group that's there, and that we have that kind of mentality to say, hey, let's make this better, not just for now, but for the years to come.
And so we have 4 subcommittees and 2 special committees.
That's right. That's right. The 4 subcommittees are the one that looks at all the ministries, it's strategic. We have the business services. They look at the policies of the employees and what we do as a convention. There's the finance committee, and they, of course, look at budgets and endowments and all the money, how we manage our money like that. And then
and not just ours, but also they
look at CBU, and they look at the foundation, right? So they look at those audits and make sure everything is in a good place for the convention.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the communications committee. So these are our 4 standing. Our special committees is we have a committee that does all the oversight of the new applications for membership to the state convention. And then there's another one that works with board development. They do trainings for the board. They make sure that we're bringing in the right kind of board members that have the right kind of skill sets, and making sure we have the right kind of policies, like the conflict of interest policy and things like that. So the board is really built in a good way. It could always be better. And so we're always looking for ways to improve.
Yeah.
And so putting policy into place really helps us to do that. And so it's a great group of men and women, godly men and women, that are about the mission, about the work that we do together. And I will say that our chairman, Jonathan Sokovich, Pastor Jonathan Sokovich, did an excellent job once again. He's in his 2nd term as president, and I'm just grateful for everyone that made it out and all the work that they put in.
And I think it would be a good time to mention that our board, you don't appoint our board members.
No.
That there is a link on our website. It's under the important links and forums tab, I believe, where you can nominate somebody.
Right.
And then those nominations go through to
the board development committee. Right. And they look at, they vet the kind of people that they're looking for based on the openings that are on the board for the different committees. And then those get presented to the convention nominating committee that is voted on, that is appointed by the president of our convention.
And then those names, once they get settled, they go to the convention.
Yes, that's right.
To get voted on.
Right, by the messengers, and the messengers vote on them.
Right. So there's a lot of rigor to get through. And so if you're not at the annual meeting, you don't get to vote on who those people get to be. So
correct.
It's very democratic very Southern Baptist.
And as executive director, I get to do all that stuff along everything else we get to do. It's fun. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, that's good. One of the things that you did this time that we haven't always done in the past is you opened up the podium to some of our team members to share to the board a little bit more robustly what's happening through our ministry team leaders.
Sure, and it's something that I see that happens in other boards, particularly the CBU, where there is an opportunity to do like a learning time, because a lot of our committees, the standing committees, they hear from certain teams. They don't hear from everybody, and so the whole board doesn't hear from everybody. Right. And so, I'm so excited about the Renew Network from our Church Matters team.
Hey, and so right here at the table.
And so I said, hey, Jason, will you spend, 10 minutes sharing what's happening? And of course, he didn't take 10 minutes.
No, he didn't.
Took more like half an hour, but it's okay.
We almost missed lunch.
Yeah, he gets excited. I will tell you, lunch did not get cold because it was cold sandwiches.
That's right. But I would have stopped, but everybody was going more. So I kept going.
But why don't you just share with us a little bit of what you're excited about the Renew Network and how it's working?
Renew California. Renew California is our revitalization network that we've launched here in the last year, and already overwhelming response across the state because it's really hitting the need of the fact that we have churches that all of our churches, let's just be honest, all of us go through these seasons where we need renewal, spiritual renewal, organizational health renewal, things like that. And so at Renew California, we're a network of being able to come alongside our churches and give them the resources, ideas, coaching, anything that they may need to help them in that process. And so, for example, one of the most effective, exciting things that we're seeing out there is churches helping churches renew. What I mean by that, if you just roll the clock back 10, 15, 20 years ago, churches were in competition with each other. If a church down the road in your city was not doing well, having a split or something, you might get excited. You're like, oh, we're about to get some new members. Right. Our budget's going to be a little easier this year. All right, so that was a terrible way to do it. But that's just reality. That's just the way church was. But nowadays, I don't know if it's spiritual maturity. I don't know if it's a new generation. Whatever the case is, so many pastors out there right now just have a more kingdom mindset to their church ministry. And that is they want the church down the road to do well. Right. Their heart goes out to their sister churches. And so what's happening is churches are calling us at the CSBC to Renew California, and they're saying, hey, we want to help. Here's some things that we're good at. Here's some resources we have. Here's some personnel we have. If you know any church that needs this, we want to help. We want to be kingdom-minded in our ministry and help other churches. And then I've got churches that contact me and say, we need help. And so they will assess them and see what kind of thing. And then we're putting those churches together. We're introducing them to each other. And we're doing what's called church fostering. In fact, we've got a webinar coming up soon. Check our website. You'll see all the details where we're doing a webinar and teaching churches how to foster churches. Church fostering, if I could just say, is pretty easy to understand if you think of like family and children. If you adopt a child, that child's yours.
Right.
But fostering is more temporary. All right. So there are some cases out there where a church is going under and they give their property to another church. That would be adoption. We adopt that property or we adopt that ministry. That ministry now becomes ours. We change the name. Fostering is different. Fostering is a temporary partnership where we say, we're not trying to take your property. We want to bless you in your ministry so you can keep your property and keep your ministry. So we, at the CSBC, we're helping these churches come together and write up a contract or an understanding that has parameters and barriers. Everybody knows what to expect from each other. There's a timeline. This is going to last 2, 3, 4, 5 years, whatever it is, so that everybody wins. And what we're finding is it doesn't just help the church that was in need, it helps both churches.
Right.
It helps both churches.
What I loved is when you showed the board on the screen, the different churches that are in the process. When you explained the need that is there, our board members that are not sitting in the strategic ministry committee where you usually share, those that are in the finance committee or the communications committee, they saw that for the first time. They're like, oh, that's what Jason is working on. That's what Jason and his team are doing. And so it was such an encouragement for them to see how the convention is coming alongside our churches that need the support.
And I appreciate you letting me say something. You got to keep in mind, and please keep this in mind going forward, that many of the situations I work with, they don't really want it to be talked about.
That's right.
And they're going through tough times. They don't want that to be put out there in an article or anything.
Right.
It's a private conversation.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So it's hard for me to really go around and talk about everything I'm doing because it's private and people are going through hard times.
That's right.
So for you to give me an opportunity to kind of celebrate it on the concept level and to give some examples, it lets people know what's going on because I'm just giving you a tip of the iceberg.
That's right.
In every region in California right now, there's renewal stories that are happening. Some of them you'll never know about.
That's right.
But I think by the time we get to our convention this year and even in the years to come, we're going to start seeing some of these stories rise to the top. We'll hopefully do some videos of some things and really begin to celebrate because we want to encourage all of you, maybe even some of you who are listening, to reach out as early as possible and just have a conversation with us. Don't wait till it's too late. Don't wait till you're too desperate. Some of your options begin to go away. Call us now because guess what? Everybody's calling. We all need help, and we're all helping one another. So don't have any shame in it, okay?
Well, and how can you start a conversation?
Just go to the website, go to csbc.com, go to the Church Matters page, scroll down just a bit, and you're going to see a QR code or whatever you need there to start a conversation with us. There's just a little button you need to push. It'll go to me, and I'll contact you, and we'll have a private conversation, and that's how it all gets started. And before you know it, I'm telling you, here's what you need to know. I believe every church that's out there, God put you here on the earth for a reason. You have value and a purpose. It's not about size or any of that. It's about your existence. So I believe that there are answers. I believe there's a future. I believe there's something that God has in store for your church and your ministry. Quite possibly something you haven't even thought of. Something you haven't even dreamed of yet. It's a new opportunity. And what we need is somebody brave enough to speak up. Somebody as brave as that first generation that started your church. Now we need that new generation to say, yes, we need to step up and sacrifice and be bold and have faith and see what the next chapter looks like for our ministry.
Well, again, going back to why we're talking about this is because the board, that we needed to inform our board. Our board needs to know where we're going, what we're doing. And I think they were very, very pleased to hear about our finances, very pleased to hear about what we're doing with the Renew Network and so many other reports that were given. Very encouraged. Like one of our chairpersons, when they came up and shared the report of what happened in their committee, said, and Sarah gave us a very long report.
That's not what she said.
All the stuff that's happened.
She said it was a good report.
A good long report.
It was a long report, but a good report.
But she's not going to tell us all about it today. She can do that maybe some other time. But I just want to say again, thank you to the board members. Thank you for your hard work. And also thank you to our staff for all that you do and then making sure that you present everything so well like you do. I'm just blessed to see everybody working together. And I just get to be kind of like in the middle watching it all. So it's really cool.
There's churches out there with people who give faithfully. And those churches faithfully give to the cooperative program, then it comes here and you've got good stewards like your board overseeing that so that I can just do what I just talked about. Turn around and take those funds and help your local churches become better at making disciples.
That's right.
And helping your local churches develop leaders, and all the other things we're talking about. All of this works together, and it starts with that faithful Southern Baptist person who's giving faithfully at that local church level. So again, we want to thank all of you. It's working. Keep it up. Amen.
And there will be a news story coming out that will hit some things that we didn't get to talk about here today. So make sure you're subscribed to This Week at CSBC so that you can stay on top of all of the news coming out of our convention. That's probably enough for now for Board Week, but we always wrap with a funny story. So
well, yeah. So as many of you guys might remember, in November, we took a group of board members and pastors to Japan to do some ministry in Osaka to work alongside our IMB missionaries. And they have a ministry there, the IMB, that is called Saturate Osaka. And they have a logo, and they have a lot of different things that they're doing to connect new believers to the local church so that they can be discipled and reach that country.
A country that has how few Christians?
Less than, I think the calculation of 130 some million, it's like 100 and something thousand Christians maybe.
It's like less than
0.5%.
Yeah.
It's a nation that really, when you go talk to people.
Never heard the name of Jesus, never heard the gospel.
That's right.
If you're going to give them the gospel, you got to start with in the book of Genesis.
That's right. That's right. That's what they do. And they get very creative in doing that, from everything from VR sets to comic books to whatever it takes to reach that culture. But when we were there, they gave away some gifts to us. We gave away gifts to them. But one of our guys that went, this pastor from Santa Maria, from a church called Lifeway, my buddy Daniel Castles, who's been a chairman of our board, happens to be a football fan. Happens to be a football fan. And when we come to board, there is decorum. And there's a little bit of a dress code, right?
You'd hope.
We encourage that people don't wear, sandals or flip flops. We are coming into a business meeting. But he decided to be very offensive this year. Yeah, he brought in a jersey of a team that put a 12 in the back. So if you know anything about football, it's a team from Seattle, which I'm not going to tell you the name of them.
Can I
because
first
they
say?
beat my team.
Oh, well, yeah.
And he did it to offend me.
Besides that, I sent an email the day before saying, make sure you dress nice. We're getting our pictures taken.
Board pictures.
Board picture day. He showed up in that.
Right.
And I had a heart attack.
And then he changed his shirt, right?
Yes, he did change his shirt.
And he changed his shirt, so he put a nicer shirt on, which was actually the nicest shirt he wore that day. But that evening, he changed into a third shirt.
You guys got some wardrobe changes.
He changed into a third shirt. Now, his third shirt was a T-shirt that was given to us. They were the last ones that they had by this team in Japan. And all they had were, I think it was extra smalls and smalls. And I think he got the extra small one. And he decided, while he was giving a presentation with a couple of other pastors, to wear the extra small one, I think. And, I'm not a big guy, and so neither is Daniel. And maybe that's why I'm saying this, because I'm not afraid. But he was showing all his muscles. All his muscles.
Like Hulk Hogan. He could have just ripped it off.
And oh my goodness, we made some fun of him there in that room, and we had a good laugh.
In love,
yes, absolutely. And we're only talking about it because we know that, he's going to enjoy this. But in the future, I will ask my board members to please maybe wear a button-up shirt or something a little bit more appropriate, because that T-shirt was just showing every.
But it did say saturate.
It didn't leave much to the imagination.
Yeah.
It was a mission shirt.
It was a mission shirt that his son should be wearing, not him.
I did not appreciate the heart attack that this is what you're going to wear for your board picture? Come on.
But there's always something to laugh at.
Always something,
yes, absolutely.
So great meeting. Thank you guys for being here. Thanks for listening in and following along so faithfully. As always, we have an email address, podcast@csbc.com. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.